All right, welcome to the newest episode of FieroCast. This episode, we are going to looks of the 40th anniversary show in Pontiac, Michigan, and we're going to try to get you to get that final nudge to get registered for one of the biggest shows, if not the largest show in the past 5 years, home to the Pontiac Fiero in Pontiac, Michigan. I am your host, Mike Royer, and this is the newest episode of FieroCast. And this is an exciting episode of FieroCast because we are less than 1 month away of the biggest show, the 40th anniversary celebration of the Pontiac Fiero presented by M1 Concours. We have so many people to thank, and I want to start this episode off with our sponsors. And this show is brought to you by all of our sponsors, because without our sponsors, the show would not be able to happen. We also like to thank everybody who made contributions and donations to this 40th. And again, thank you very much, because again, without your support, we would not be able to put on a show at this magnitude. So first, again, we'd like to thank M1 Concours for being the presenting sponsor for the 40th anniversary celebration of the Pontiac Fiero. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but the big day is Friday, and it's going to be an exciting day. We got some exciting news, so stick with us and listen on what we've got going on over the course of the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But back to our sponsors, and again, just want to thank all the sponsors that make this happen. Without you guys, it wouldn't be the show that it is. We'll get you in touch with the right people. If you want to donate, awesome. We'll get you in touch with those correct people as well. But so again, just like to thank the sponsors. You can see all the sponsors at fiero40th.com. You can click on those images and it will take you directly to their site, so you can learn more about those sponsors. So starting off, we like to thank Pickard Performance, Heartland Fiero, the Fiero Store, Magic Vac Incorporated, the quality you want for less than what you expect to pay, the Pontiac Transportation Museum, Fast Signs, Make Your Statement, GoldenEye Graphic, Minnesota Fieros Forever, along with Back to the 80s, Minnesota, Auto Bios, Pony Enterprises, Fasteners and Automotive Hardware, Don Keese Poncho Perfection, State Farm, Shannon Morales in Cary, Illinois, Tom Schmidt Motorsports in Wisconsin, Ken Smith Illustration, Carlisle Nationals GM, Fierosource.com, the Michigan Fiero Club, Drive Faster Now, Fiero John, the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts, and rounding off our top sponsors, the Fiero Factory. Again, there is still time if you would like to become a sponsor. We can get that information to you as well if you want to make a donation, or if you want to send us raffles or the door prizes for Sunday morning's breakfast. Again, we will get you in touch with the right people. All right, now let's get on with the newest episode of FieroCast. I am here with Jim Hallman, Jen Goss, and Terry Larson. They're going to give us some last-minute updates on what's happening with the 40th and kind of get you guys solidified and getting those registrations in. So real quick, everybody knows that M1 Concours is the premier presenting sponsor for the 40th anniversary show. So we are very excited to have them. We did a FieroCast with them a couple episodes ago. So if you want to know more about M1, take a listen, and it is a very, very good podcast. A lot of information on the history of M1 as well. So you can get an idea of the lay of the land before you actually go to M1 on the Friday big event. So with that said, Jen, I know Paul's not able to make it on tonight. So if you can just kind of fill us in a little bit of what to expect at M1 Concourse.
Sure thing, Mike. And we're super grateful to both Paul Hassler and Eric Schnack, who have stepped up and done an amazing job being the track day coordinators for the 40th anniversary celebration. They have really done an amazing job at getting all of the sessions organized, the groups organized, making sure that we're ready to get all of the cars teched and everything that can possibly be done to make this a smooth running and awesome day. So as of right now, those of you that are registered for the event at M1 Concourse should have received a little flyer in your email, give some updates and things to be prepared for. The performance laps are officially full, but we do have just a handful of spots left in the parade laps at this point. And so the day is going to begin with a driver's school after participants arrive at the M1 Concourse. The first driver's school will be the performance lap driver's school. This event takes about 20 minutes and they review track layout, track safety, and other important information. And it is required for all drivers with performance and parade to take part in their respective driver's schools. Then from there, the cars will move into the grid for their appointed grid and then session times. The grid is the staging area to get the cars ready to go onto the track. And from there, once the session time begins, the cars are going to be released in groups of 4. There will be 16 cars on the track at a time in a lead follow format. And the drivers from the M1 Concourse who are driving the lead cars during the performance laps are prepared to go at the pace that best suits the participants. So we're going to see some really impressive driving out there. We've got some individuals who have track licenses, and we're really looking forward to seeing how they handle their Fieros. And then we're also just looking forward to seeing other individuals in enjoying the cars that they're bringing. We have a wide variety of everything from stock 4 and 6 cylinders all the way up to turbo LS4 powered vehicles and a wide variety of suspensions and other setups. Midday, we're going to have the parade laps. The parade lap drivers will be arriving at M1 mid-morning for their driver's school, and then they'll prepare for the parade laps, which will begin midday, late morning, I should say. And these parade laps will be also led by some special vehicles in the Fiero community. And with this track experience, the parade laps are going to go about 40 miles per hour around the track. And so those cars, like the performance cars, will also be undergoing tech inspections when they arrive at the Auburn Hills Marriott on Wednesday or Thursday is our ideal times of getting those tech inspections done. Also that day, we are going to have the 90 prototype, as well as reuniting all 3 of the original Indy pace cars. They'll be on hand together for the first time since the 1980s. We also will be bringing in the last Fiero as well as the first Fiero to be featured in this display. So if you want to see the 90, the first Fiero, or Indy Pace Cars 1 and 2, they are only going to be on hand at the M1 Concourse between 9 and 3 that day. So be sure to make it over there to check those cars out.
Thank you. Real quick, if somebody is just wanting to attend, they're not going to have a Fiero there to do the performance or to do the parade. Is there a place that you can see the most of the track or a portion of the track to see the cars coming around?
Absolutely. There's going to be both indoor and outdoor viewing spaces. These viewing spaces give various vantage points on the track itself. M1 is going to be opening up the patio upstairs for us to watch from, and this has a vantage point of nearly the entire track. And then there's also various points around the track exterior that are safe for participant viewing.
Awesome. Perfect. And the big thing is not only seeing the parade of Fieros and the performance Fieros, but like you said, the big key is the prototypes and the Indy pace car reunion. So if that hasn't sold you on registering for the event or registering or getting to M1 that day, that is a must. So thank you, Jen, for filling in on all of the fun things at M1. Also, we have, again with us, we have Terry Larson, and Fred Bartemeyer has joined us. Terry Larson is Bontour Solutions, and he will be manning the merchandise table, as well as having some unique and different things for the 40th anniversary show. Terry, you want to fill us in on some of those items?
We've got what I think is a pretty good variety of items available for the 40th anniversary, and they're all on the website right now that can be pre-bought as a sale price as opposed to a little different price at the show. One of the items is a 15-ounce coffee mug. It's a ceramic mug. On one side, it has the anniversary logo, and on the other side, it has a M1 logo on it. So it's got both on it. We also have some koozies. We have the foam can koozie that is available, and again, it has the 40th anniversary logo on one side and the M1 on the other side. And then we also have a bottle koozie. That's the same one. And again, those are on sale before the event themselves, and will also be available at the event at a different cost. There's also a can opener available, and if I'm speaking correctly, it's a metal can opener that's been like it has a die cut to it, and those are available now, as well as at the show. And all of the items, if you order them now, they'll be delivered at the show. They'll be available for it then. So we also have a 20-ounce stainless steel tumbler that's available. It came out very nice, I believe, and it's good for hot or cold beverages, and it comes with a metal straw. And it's has a logo on one side, the 40th anniversary on one side, and the M1 on the opposite side. We also have a 40th anniversary license plate frame. It says, "I drove my Fiero to the 40th," and then it has a 40th logo at the bottom of the frame. And so those are available now. We also have a key fob, a metal key fob, and it can be pre-ordered and picked up at the 40th anniversary, mainly to save shipping charges. And then you also have the name badge that would be custom ordered, and I'm not sure if there's a cutoff date for those. They can be ordered now and picked up at the show. And then, of course, we have T-shirts available for the 40th, and those will to be picked up too. We also have some merchandise left from the 35th and 30th that can be also purchased, but I think those are only available at the show. So I think that kind of covers it, Mike, unless you want me to go into more detail, but that's kind of an overview of all the items.
That's perfect. Thank you. And from what I've heard is that the 40th anniversary tumbler, the pre-test on how well it keeps your drink cold worked very well at the Dells, right? It was like
Yes,
90 some degrees, and people said that the ice stayed ice for almost the entire day.
I didn't try it, but I heard the same thing. So that's very encouraging, and I would think it would do just as well with the hot beverages too. Just don't put them in the dishwasher. Right.
No, I mean, overall, it is a good array of merchandise, and it's a lot of different things too that you could look at and purchase, and everything is available for purchase on the Fiero40th.com under the store. Like Terry said, if you want to save on shipping costs, you can pre-order it now and pick it up at the 40th. So again, thank you, Terry, for everything that you're doing for both merchandising and helping out at the 40th. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now Let's
I
cut
think
real quickly to Fred.
Yeah, I think I'm unmuted now, am I?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right.
So welcome,
I'm
Fred.
down the highway at 70 mile an hour on I-94, enjoying life. So
Awesome. So this is going to be your fifth, right? 20, 25, 30.
I have been
Your fifth.
involved in the organization in some form of every anniversary event so far.
So what makes this one different?
It doesn't really make it a whole lot different other than the aspect that we've progressed into a different generation. The people that come to the 40th is a different crowd per se than what we had at the 20th. Our resources that we have accumulated since the 20th are a lot stronger and a little more in depth. And it's going to make it for a much different type of event.
Would you say the 40th, when you're saying, different, would you say the 40th is also bringing a younger crowd to the event?
Definitely. The amount of under 30 participants is pretty impressive. And the passion and dedication that these kids have is really cool. It kind of reminds me of myself back when I was young too. So to see that, see some younger people being involved and actually in the organization of the event, I think is really neat.
We're going to talk about events here momentarily, but what would you say to the last minute registers why they need to attend this event?
Well, our anniversary events are organized with the intention of bringing as many Fieros and Fiero people together as possible in one place to celebrate the anniversary. And that is the sole purpose of wanting to come. I know for a fact when I show up, I got friends from years ago that are going to be there that are coming from all over the United States, Canada, and we actually have some people coming from out of states that are coming. So, it's a culmination of the Fiero community, people that you don't see very often, all for the purpose of celebrating, our hobby. And that's what I'm doing, seeing people that I haven't seen in a long time.
What would you say would be the most unique thing then that somebody could be coming for the first time, somebody who hasn't been to an anniversary show maybe in a couple of those 5 years, and somebody who's gone to each anniversary show?
Well, there's several things, numerous things we can talk about, but the thing that's going to be my highlight is when that N.I.F.E Fiero rolls out of the back of the transporter. We haven't seen those cars since 2008 for various reasons, mostly financial. But the opportunity to have those 3 prototypes from the Heritage Center at our event this year is somewhat unique because they're kind of hometown. It's close. We're able to afford to bring the cars to the event without going broke. So I think that will be the highlight of my weekend that I'm looking forward to, but you never know until you get there. Also, we've been working very hard on the culmination of former Pontiac employees. I think we're up to 22 confirmed employees that are coming on Saturday for the reunion. And tomorrow we have a press conference with the Oakland Press to see if we can get some more word out. But I think the aspect of having the people there that actually made the car, worked at the factory, worked in design, worked as an engineer, they'll be there to share their stories. And having that capability on hometown soil is a unique feature that probably won't be able to be replicated in the future.
How excited is that group to, one, come to an event like this, specializing in the celebration of the Fiero, and two, catch up with old workmates, old friends?
Well, we've been working with some of the participants of the 35th, and they've been talking about how good of a time they had at the 35th and how much fun the Fiero group was, and they just couldn't believe the interest and passion involved in our group towards the Fiero. So they've been spreading the word. So there's some anticipation on the part of the people that have not come to the Fiero events before, and then there's anticipation on the guys who do know how our events run on participating. So when everybody worked together, almost everybody that I interview talk about working for Pontiac as a small family, and everybody, for the most part, work together as family, and the opportunity to get back together with their old coworkers and friends has attracted some of them to come, and then share their knowledge and experiences with making the Fiero happen.
That's awesome, and just to be in the room with those people and hear their history is something that you don't want to miss either. And
the neat thing about this group of guest speakers is they were the young guns on the design teams when they were just first starting out with Pontiac. So they were the ones that worked the trenches, that did all the test work, derived all the data, put the cars together, all the smaller tasks. And the stories that they have are significantly different than what we've gotten in the past in the aspect from supervision point of view. In the past, we've had the executive level employees come and talk to us, and their point of view, was way different than the guys who work the lower level employment. So it'll be a unique opportunity to hear some of the stories, and a lot of the stories are very interesting in the aspect that they had to work through a very specific problem and solve it in order for the Fiero to be produced, to be available to the public. So those are the stories that we're going to hear more of than the stories of how pen was put to paper and how the car moved from paper to production. So I'm looking forward to hearing those small individual stories.
Absolutely. And again, this is something that you don't want to miss. I'm going to jump over to Jim real quick. So we got the speakers. We know that there's going to be a speaker night. Where is the speaker night going to be held? If you want to give us a little bit of background on this venue in Pontiac.
So yeah, Thursday, July 13th, we are going to be at the Crowfoot Ballroom. The Crowfoot is actually one of the oldest buildings in Oakland County, and we're very much looking forward to being a part of that heritage of Pontiac, Michigan, as we celebrate the Pontiac Fiero, as we have all of our distinguished guest speakers at the Crowfoot Ballroom. Interesting, the Crowfoot is a venue that does a lot of professional presentations. So this entire evening is going to be recorded, professionally recorded, and both video and audio, so that we will have a permanent record of this for the history of the Pontiac Fiero. Something else that's actually taking place on Thursday, July 13th, is that the mayor of Pontiac, Michigan has declared that day to be Pontiac Fiero Day. So there's going to be an actual declaration taking place prior to the guest speaker event, the distinguished speaker event on that Thursday. So we're very much looking forward to that. There's going to be 2 sessions of the guest speaker. The distinguished speaker event is going to be an afternoon session. It's going to be a little bit of a break to give everyone a opportunity to kind of rest your mind from absorbing so much information. There are many downtown restaurants in Pontiac that we are encouraging people to participate and patronize. And then after that, there'll be the evening session that starts at 7 o'clock, and we're not sure it'll go until who knows, until everyone's too tired to talk anymore, perhaps. But Thursday is going to be a big day for the celebrating the history of Pontiac and the Pontiac Fiero.
That sounds like a very, very full Thursday. So most everybody is going to be arriving for this event early in the week, some Monday, some Tuesday, some on Wednesday. Our first event to kick off everything is going to be Wednesday evening. It's a private tour. You do have to pre-register for it, but you could register for it the day of when you arrive. But it is highly recommended to pre-register for it when you register online. It is a private tour of the Lingenfelter collection. And I probably messed that up, didn't I, Jen?
A little bit.
So explain a little bit of what this private tour will consist of.
Yeah, so this private tour is of the collection of Ken Lingenfelter. Many may recognize the name of Lingenfelter Performance Engineering, which was a company founded by Ken's cousin, John Lingenfelter. And they did a lot of upgrades on Corvettes and other muscle cars. And so Ken himself is a car guy. And since he bought his first Corvette in 1977, he's been amassing an amazing collection of vehicles. And he's also now the owner of Lingenfelter Performance Engineering. So putting these things together collectively, he has founded the Lingenfelter Collection, which has some absolutely incredible vehicles in it. There's over nearly 200 Corvettes, muscle cars, and other exotics in the collection, including a Zimmer. And I believe a 1987 GT. He also, has a vast array of Corvettes of all makes and models, as well as some other just absolutely incredible and unique vehicles. And so they have decided to open the collection up to us. We're so absolutely excited to be able to have this opportunity. And all of the proceeds from our ticket sales are going to the Lingenfelter Foundation, which is the charitable arm of the Lingenfelter family. And many of their proceeds, the charity, go towards the American Cancer Society and some other local children's charities in the vicinity of Brighton, Michigan, where the collection is located. So if you are able to get there, we're going to head out of the hotel around 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And I think it's going to absolutely be an incredible event. So we're really excited and grateful to the Lingenfelter family for giving us this opportunity.
And this one, just correct me if I'm wrong, but this one is probably going to be the furthest out event that we do, correct?
Correct. It is a little bit of a drive. It is, I want to say, about 35 minutes away. So we will be caravanning and carpooling. We encourage individuals, afterwards to stop and grab dinner somewhere or, enjoy everyone's camaraderie, because there's a lot of great restaurants and other places between our hotel and the collection itself.
Awesome. Looking forward to some of the different eats up there too. So very exciting. So that takes care of Wednesday. We're going to jump back into Thursday. And the one thing we want to touch on is one of our supporting sponsors, the Pontiac Transportation Museum. Jim or Fred, if you want to jump in on this and kind of explain what we can expect on at the Pontiac Transportation Museum, as well as just is it is it going to be a tour, or is it going to be just something where you can just go and view as groups from the 40th? And again, if you want to hear more about the Pontiac Transportation Museum, we did do a podcast again a few episodes ago with Tim Dye from the Pontiac Transportation Museum, who gives a really, really good interview on what the Pontiac Transportation Museum is and why that came about. But I'll open it up to both Fred and Jim if you want to fill us in on that Thursday morning event.
Fred, why don't you go ahead and start?
Do you have the audio on me?
Yes.
Okay. Pontiac Transportation Museum, was organized to showcase anything that had wheels on it and was manufactured in the city of Pontiac, Michigan. So we have everything in the building from carriages all the way through Pontiac Motor Division, GMC truck, motorhomes. And the unique thing about the museum is they've had donations where they actually have one of the first motor cars made called the Pontiac that was built in 1903. And there are several obscure, very low production early cars built in the before 1910 through the teens into the early 20s. And most of that manufacturing was done down in the area of where M1 Concourse is, down in that triangle area. That was the manufacturing center. And the Grabowski truck was the first wheeled vehicle produced on that grounds. The original power plant that powered the plants in that area is still in existence on the north side of the triangle. And then the Grabowski merged with another company to make the Rapid truck, and then the Rapid truck was absorbed into General Motors Corporation and eventually became GMC. And there's an example of each truck at the museum that everybody can see. And what to expect when you get there is the PTM staff will be on hand and will give guided tours of the inventory. So you get a little story with each piece that is in the museum. In addition to our cookout and hopes of having a large gathering to see the museum. And as of last week, the artists have completed the mural on the side of the building, which is 45 feet by 15 feet tall. Pretty impressive. And it depicts the manufacturing capabilities of Pontiac, Michigan in the mural.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Just out of curiosity, I know because this event is happening basically where everything happened 40 years ago, is there going to be anything at information wise or even during the distinguished speaker night of what the landscape was back then in that area? And I mean, I know some people will probably go off on their own during the week to kind of look at those spots and pay homage to the old plants and stuff like that. But do you think that's going to be one of the things that's going to be talked about is what the landscape was back then? I know I'm jumping around a lot, but it just popped in my head, and I think that would be really interesting.
I'm trying to extract out of the plant workers that I've interviewed what it was like back then. It was a different world in that era. You used to be able to walk out of high school and go get a job at one of the factories immediately, and that was your career. you're a career factory worker. That's a completely different life than most of us have experienced. You know, all of your training, all of your benefits were just derived by assembling vehicles. So the second session at 7 o'clock on Thursday night, the plant manager that actually closed the plant is going to speak. And she actually was the negotiator with the UAW between the plant workers and Pontiac to derive the labor relations contract for the employees. So we're going to get a completely different perspective on how life was at that aspect in the assembly plant. I mean, as far as the city of Pontiac, you know, it was kind of the end of an era in that time where assembly plants were closing. Everybody was downsizing. Pontiac Motor Division headquarters was moved from Pontiac, Michigan, back down to downtown and reorganized as Chevrolet Pontiac Canada Group. And it took Pontiac out of Pontiac, basically. And during that period, they closed down the big manufacturing plant, and the foundry got torn down. And you know, it was just kind of an end of an era in the late 80s for Pontiac in Pontiac, Michigan.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Jim, did you want to add anything to this as well?
Yeah, I wanted to add in. Thanks, Mike. You were talking about the area around Pontiac and how it was affected, but something that is going to be taking place that is put on by the Pontiac Transportation Museum. There's going to be we're calling it a scavenger hunt, but it's actually a clues and cruise scavenger hunt where there's going to be the participants are going to be directed to key important sites in the city of Pontiac and its relation to automotive history. And that's going to be available all day on Thursday and Friday up until around 4 p.m. And what it is you go to the Pontiac Transportation Museum, you get your information packet, and then you just spend your time going to the various sites in and around Pontiac, Michigan to help you get more acclimated to what the area was like and some of the key aspects, the key important aspects of the city of Pontiac and how as to how it relates to transportation in general. And then on Friday, during the cookout, there's going to be some prizes that are going to be awarded for participants in the clues and cruise as far as the some of the winners of the participants in that. So there'll be gift cards that are given away, Pontiac Transportation Museum swag, and Fiero community products that'll be awarded. So if you want to learn more about Pontiac, Michigan and how it relates, how it was a key role, played a key role in the transportation industry, you definitely want to participate in this Clues and Cruise on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, with the Clues and Cruise, I've shared my knowledge with the BTM ladies in providing Fiero content for the scavenger hunt. That way it makes it appealing to our Fiero group. So it'll be a combination of Pontiac, Michigan history and Fiero history.
Would you say that there's on this scavenger hunt that there's still some stuff frozen in time, or is all that again kind of in history now because the landscape has changed?
Yeah, there's very few buildings that still exist. But some of the key buildings that are of significant importance do still stand. And with the new regime in the Pontiac, city of Pontiac, city council and government, they're going to make an effort at preserving some of this history. The original Pontiac Buggy Works, where the buggies were made still stands, still exists, and it's still a stable structure where it can be restored. It just would be a significant undertaking. And like I mentioned earlier, the original powerhouse for the Grabowski Rapid truck manufacturer still exists, and it's a very solid structure. And the original headquarters and a majority of the plant for the Oakland Motor Car Company still exists, and it's occupied by a current industry which is upkeeping the building, but you can still see Oakland Motor Car Company engraved in the marble facade of the front doorway, which is really cool to see. But other than that, Pontiac, Michigan has progressed. It's been a factory town. When they're done with one thing, they tear it down and put up the new thing. Fiero plant was subject to that fate, and it's occupied by other businesses and industries now.
Very interesting. Again, if you want to learn more about the automotive history, this is the event to go to, and it's a very unique place, and just has a lot of history and a lot of information. So I think that basically takes care of Thursday, except for the one that it's going to happen in afternoon and evening, is the display of Fieros. Is that something that you have to register for, or is that something that they just want to see as many Fieros in downtown Pontiac as possible?
We want to see as many Fieros as we can stuff in downtown. Right now, we have one city block in front of the Crowfoot reserved. It'll be barricaded off specifically for Pontiac Fieros only. And if we get creative, we should be able to get approximately 100 cars in that city block between Water Street and Pike Street on Saginaw in front of the Crowfoot. If we overflow that, the city is offered to block off the next block on one side of the street in front of the Strand Theater. So I hope we have that problem, but we'll see. But part of the Pontiac Fiero Proclamation Day is that they will promote that there will be a large mass of Pontiac Fieros on hand in front of the Crowfoot.
That is very cool, and I hope we have that massive display. That would be an awesome photograph as well. So now I think that closes out Thursday. So if you're still thinking that, I don't know really what I want to do I want to register? Do I not want to register? I think you going into Friday, what you've heard for Wednesday, what you've heard for Thursday, that is some awesome stuff. But if you're still on that 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10, I think that last 10% is going to solidify it on this Friday event. So, and Jen talked about the M1 Concours Day. We've talked about the scavenger hunt. We've talked about the prototypes coming out on Friday. But if you're going to Friday, you're going to need some food. So the Michigan Fiero Club has put together this cookout at the Pontiac Transportation Museum on that evening. Pre-registration is required, but Jim, do you want to fill us in a little bit about what we're going to do on that night?
Sure. That night is going to be as Mike mentioned, at the Pontiac Transportation Museum. It's going to be kind of a cookout, kind of a very laid back event. We were asking people to bring their own chairs. There's going to be a food truck available for a simple meal, hot dogs and hamburgers. The museum will be open for free inside visiting. And we very much appreciate the Michigan Fiero Club for sponsoring this event. It's going to be officially from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday. And there's going to be a DJ there. So it's going to more or less be a kind of like a like an outdoor cruise night style event where it's going to be no car show, no judging. It's just going to be a get together for the Fiero community, and we're very much looking forward to hosting a couple hundred people at this particular event on Friday evening.
I'm looking forward to the food. Any type of cookout food is going to be great cookout food. So that's going to close out our Friday. And again, Friday is, along with the Wednesday for traveling too, and Wednesday will close out. Thursday is a very busy day. Friday is going to be the busiest of all days. But I think the one day that everybody is looking forward to outside of those 3, 4, 5 events is going to be the show. Jen, if you want to kind of fill us in on what we're looking at as far as 1, how to register for the show, and 2, is there still rooms available for the show, because it is going to be a very jam-packed show. So you want to make sure that you get your reservations in as soon as possible.
Yeah, so there are only a limited number of rooms available right now, I believe, on Saturday night. Now, there are other options. There is a hotel across the street that's with the same chain that does still have some rooms available, I believe. But the other option is to stay at the host hotel and pay the full rate for the remaining nights, which is a bit pricier. There are also other hotels in the Pontiac area. And Mike, I did not hear the first part of your question because I'm on the phone with Fred's mom. So what was the first part of your question?
So basically, it's how would one go about registering for the event if they haven't already? Registration is still open, not long, but it is still open, and making sure that they get that taken care of, and any of the events, plus getting registered at the host hotel.
All right. So yeah, you want to go to www.fiero40th.com and get registered as soon as possible. As mentioned, there are only a limited number of spots available for the parade laps. The show has an unlimited number of spots, but if you don't pre-register by June 26th, you're likely to not get a t-shirt or a name badge. And some of the other events are starting to fill up. The Cruise and Clues has a limited number of spots. And there are some other events like the PTM Cookout that is going to close about a week in advance, just because we have to allot food. So you want to make sure you get registered as soon as possible, because if you wait too long, some of these events might fill up. Now, the speaker night, the Lingenfelter tour, those are open-ended and tickets can be purchased at registration, but you do want to make sure that you get pre-registered as soon as possible to get the full experience.
Awesome. So you're right there. Just get registered and get to the event. So now we're going to go into the actual show on Saturday. So if I'm going to open this up to anyone, what's the procedure now for the event? You've got to make sure your car is properly classified, that you get into the correct class, and then what does the day look like after you get classified?
Well, I'll go ahead and start out on that one. So the day is going to start out early at 7 a.m. We're going to open up the show field for parking, have people, directing cars on to park in their proper location. Classification and registration will also be from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And after that, it will be registration will be closed and the show will begin. There's going to be registration open on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you definitely want to get your car registered and classified so that you don't wait till that last minute rush. We're hoping that anyone that arrives on Saturday will only be the ones that register Saturday morning. So, and then after that, we're planning at this point to do a group shot around 10 o'clock. More details about that will be forthcoming. Wanted to, like we did at the 35th, we'll have a aerial shot so that we can get as many of the Fiero participants in the photograph as we possibly can. And after that, the official start of the world's largest Fiero show will begin. And that'll take us all the way up until around 3 p.m. that afternoon. We're dubbing it as the largest Fiero show in the world, so you can come out and see amazing stock, custom, and modified Fieros all in one place. There's going to be indoor parking, Fieros indoors, some of the specialty Fieros are going to be in there, as well as all of the general public Fieros are going to be outdoors. So yeah, we're at this point, I believe we're well over 200 Fieros registered, so we're looking forward to a huge showing on Saturday.
And don't forget, it's also a family event too. So we're going to have some fun stuff for the kids. We've got the Hot Wheel racetrack that you can race your fellow kid friends at. We're going to have a cardboard cutout of a Fiero, so you can get your photograph in a Fiero if your parents don't let you into their Fiero. We also have some coloring books and stuff, and we also have a kids vote, so the kids can vote for their favorite Fiero too. So if you have kids, make sure that they swing over to the kids zone and get all that information. Saturday night, I'm guessing everybody's in on their own. Groups can go out and do what they need and what they want to do for dinners. That kind of brings up a quick question here. What does the host hotel offer? Is it just do they have a restaurant, or do they have something like a buffet style for food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if people wanted just to stay at the hotel?
Sure. Well, Saturday night, there's actually other activities happening. We're going to have a sound system contest, Weigh Your Fiero contest, as well as an exhaust contest that'll be going on. These follow up on the dyno experience that's also going to be available during show day. So while participants are grabbing a meal, they can also take in some of these other activities. On site at the hotel is Woodward's, which is their hotel restaurant. Food is excellent. And then just across the parking lot is El Toro, which Tim Dye says is the best Mexican restaurant in Detroit area. So definitely good food there as well. And then a short walk away, there's a Leo's Coney Island, there's a Burger King, and there are some other small restaurants within a short walk or a drive. Of course, during the day on Saturday, we'll have those great food trucks. So there are options. There is a breakfast buffet in the hotel in the morning, and then there are also there's lunch options at the hotel as well if you would not want to partake in the food trucks.
So again, a very, very fun and packed Saturday. So this is not a show where you get a lot of sleep in, right? From the time you get in to the time you leave, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of sleep, right?
That's why you want to come in early. You want to come in on Monday and Tuesday for sleep, and then by the time you hit Wednesday, probably about noon. After that, you're not going to get sleep until probably you get home on Sunday night.
So speaking of Sunday, sorry, go ahead.
I usually have to look at the pictures to see what I did. It gets so busy, so intense, and so many things are happening all at once that you almost don't realize what you're doing until you look back at the pictures and the videos, and it's like, holy cow, look at me go.
It's almost like you need to take a vacation from a vacation after this.
Right.
So then the final day for most everybody is going to be on Sunday. There's going to be a breakfast, some awards, and some door prizes. Anything else on Sunday that everybody can kind of look forward to?
Yeah, we're going to, as Mike, you mentioned, we're going to start out with a breakfast. Breakfast is something that you need to pre-register and pay ahead of time for. It's going to be in the Ottawa room, which is across from the Hall of Fieros. So once you find the indoor hall of the Pontiac Fieros, the breakfast will be right across from that. We're going to award door prizes on Sunday morning, starting at around 8:30. Hoping to get a lot of door prizes and lots of gifts passed out for that. And then we're going to start our award ceremony at 9:30, and that's going to be inside what they call the Oakland room, which is where the Hall of Fieros is going to be. So that all of the award-winning Fieros are going to be recognized on Sunday morning. We're have a plan in place that we're going to project on a screen the actual car that won, which is a major feat in a huge car show like this. But it's good for people to see the cars that won. A lot of times you wonder, boy, is that the car that I voted for, or is that the right one that I was thinking of? And this way, since you'll be able to see a visual of the winning cars, you can determine if those were the ones that you voted for or not. So, but that'll be another busy Sunday morning from 7. Oh, who knows? Probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely. Just real quick, last couple things before we wrap it up here. What's the easiest way, if somebody's got any questions, what's the easiest way that somebody can get a hold of somebody on the committee or somebody that may have information that they may need in order to, one, register? If they don't have any questions on any of the events, what's the best way to be able to get a hold of somebody?
So we have a contact form on the website that directs the individual to the appropriate party. So that is probably the easiest way. And then, of course, the Midwest Fiero board members have our own Midwest Fiero Club's emails. So someone can also reach out at jgoss@midwestfieroclubs.com or to any of the other board members that you may have a question for by their first initial and last name at midwestfieroclubs.com.
Awesome. And again, that website is fiero40th.com. And then right at the top, about center, is contact. Click on that and you can send that information out. Also, there's some, if you have any questions that could also be helpful on the website under our FAQs, there's a lot of information there. So check that before you send an email, because your question might be answered in that section too. All right. So again, last couple things here real quick before we wrap it up. And hopefully if you're still on that hinge of registering, hopefully this FieroCast helps get that last 10% of your questions and get you registered. But the one big thing that this show cannot operate without volunteers, and that goes a long way. The volunteers for any event like this is very helpful and needed. So Jen, real quickly, just I know you had just recently had the email go out looking for volunteers, but thoughts on how to get volunteered for the event. If you're registered, all they have to do is ask, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody that registered prior to this week should have already received an email newsletter type update, which includes a link to the volunteer registration. And we're in the process of kind of divvying out the volunteer positions right now. And Shane Parsons is going to be contacting individuals, since he's our volunteer coordinator, with their assigned shift, duties, and other information. So we're really looking forward to getting those finalized. I think at last count, it takes nearly 300 volunteer positions during the days of the show to make things happen. I might even be underestimating that a slight bit. And we're really grateful to the individuals that have stepped up so far. But right now, probably only about 20 to 30% of our attendees have offered to volunteer directly. So if you are one of those people who hasn't yet and can spare just 2 hours of your time, or even just time to lead a caravan from point A to point B, we would seriously be grateful, because, as they always say, many hands make light work. And that's certainly true for a car show of this magnitude.
And there's plenty of opportunities too. So even if you get in at a certain time, when you're registering like that, just go ahead and ask, like, hey, can you point me in the direction of who I can talk to help volunteer? Because there's a lot of things, like Jen was saying, that you can help out with and stuff like that. So don't hesitate. If you want to help out, and just go ahead and ask when you stop in by registration. All right. So as we wrap it up, go ahead.
Just some final comments. If someone really is on the fence about this event, I think it was back in 2019 that we made the decision that we were going to go to Pontiac, Michigan. And Fred Bardemeyer, I remember, brought up a very good point. He's like, you know what? I mean, none of us are getting any younger, and this particular time that we're in right now, may be the last time that we get some of these people together, because I mean, age is just catching up on everyone. And 2023 is the year that we brought the 5-year anniversary event for the Pontiac Fiero back home, just so we can capture as many of the original Fiero people as possible, because as each day passes, more and more of them leave this world and move on to the next. So we're very grateful that we're able to have this in Pontiac. And I know personally, I'm very much looking forward to interacting with some of the plant workers. And I'm eager to catch some of their expressions when they realize that 40 years after they put their hands and hearts into this car, that this car is still living and is still alive. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing their expressions. And I think it's going to be their enthusiasm to know that they assembled this car, and that I think in the back of their minds that they knew that this was more than just a mode of transportation. There's something special behind this car. And I think they're going to be very glad to know that it still exists and is still around and bringing a lot of enjoyment to a lot of people.
Well said. Well said. Jen, Fred, and Terry, I'm going to open it up to you guys now, too.
Can I add a little note to that, what Jim said?
Absolutely.
John Callies is coming. He is the only special guest from Pontiac Motor Division that has made all 5 anniversary shows. And his current age and condition, he is coming kind of against the advice of his doctor and family, but he is bringing a chaperone to come along with him in the event that something might happen. And he says, I will be there, in quotes, hell or high water, to join in with all my friends and all the Fiero people, because he really enjoys being with the Fiero people and sharing their passion with his background. He is a hardcore, to the root car guy, and he's just overly impressed with how our Fiero community is conducted over the years, with all the modified cars and the preservation of the history and the overall support of a car that none of them ever dreamed would be this popular this late. So John Callies is very excited about coming to spend time with us. And for the participants, please do go talk to him, say hello. He's a super nice guy. And remind all of the participants to bring their Sharpies, whatever color you want to bring, because most of them are acclimated to giving their autographs. That's something that's kind of taken a lot of them away. The Fiero was a job to them in the day, and now they're being treated like rock stars. So it's a pretty impressive point of view for them to see how we treat them.
Absolutely. And just again, like Jim was saying, just to see some of their expressions on their face when they're walking through the show field or looking at some of the cars and even, just to say, wow, this is what the car has become. And this is what at the time, this is what their living was. And look at what their living has provided enjoyment to a very large community.
For some of the participants that were at the 2008 25th, that was the last anniversary event where we had Holke on site, and Holke stayed all day. He showed up early in the morning and he was there until late at night, and all he did was go out and talk to people, went out and talked to car owners, anybody who wanted to talk to him. He was very cordial, very friendly, and he shared some very intimate stories with random people out in the parking lot during show day. So I would suspect during the 40th, we're going to experience some of that once again.
Make great memories for a lot of people.
Definitely. I have a ton of them from that parking lot in the Center Point Marriott. A lot of great things happened in that parking lot over the years.
All right, Terry, Jen, any final closing comments?
I'm looking forward to the 40th. I was at the 35th, and it was a great time then, and this one looks to be even better. So looking forward to it very much.
It's hard to believe it's here. We're so excited to see everybody. And I think, in addition to what everyone else has shared, for me, ultimately, it's all about the people. And I'm just so excited to see longtime friends, to put names to faces of people that I've interacted with through the years online, and to make new friends and new memories. So we're really just looking forward to the days we're going to be spending together, and can't wait to see everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight on FieroCast, and see a lot of you in less than a month. So it is very exciting. We're coming down the final stretch, and it's going to be an event not to miss, and it's going to be a very memorable event. So again, thank you guys very much for joining me tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting us, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. That was probably one of the most exciting shows we have done in the past couple months, but it is less than 1 month away. So make sure you go to Fiero40th.com to register your car for the event, get your hotel reservations made, and just check out, again, the sponsors, the M1 concours, our schedule of events for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday night as well. Sorry, I forgot that. And Sunday morning. If you have any questions, please check out the FAQs. If your answer is not available in there, you can go ahead and contact us. You can also check out the store, the big reunion happening on Thursday night, our vendors that are going to be partaking in the event. Again, we have quite a few coming, and we'd like you to get to know the vendors as well. And again, it's a very easy website to maneuver around, check everything out. And again, we got less than a month from the big show. So go ahead, click that register button, register for the show, and we will see you there. Thank you again for joining me on the newest episode of FieroCast. I am your host, Mike Croyer, and this has been a production of the Northern Illinois Fiero Enthusiasts. Thank you to Terry Larson, Jim Hallman, Jen Goss, and Fred Bottermeyer. It was a pleasure talking to you about the 40th. And again, we will see everybody up there. Our next episode of FieroCast will be from the 40th anniversary celebration event. So I hope to talk to most, and if not all of you guys, get you on FieroCast, get you your reactions of the event. And again, it's going to be a large event. A lot of surprises are coming your way. So again, be sure to register. Keep Fieroing, and good night, Fiero owners, wherever you are.